And we touched on this, but let's talk about the other type of spaces.
So spaces where you're not alone, the rule there is you can't interfere with somebody else's learning. And so if someone is allowed to, let's say you and your partner are sitting in a room and your partner's just grumbling and complaining about all the people at work and how awful they are and the government and politics and filling the room with negative energy, if you keep clearing the room, he doesn't feel the impact of being that way. He doesn't notice he starts getting tired. He doesn't notice he feels heavier. So now you're shielding him from his own learning. So you can't just go play cleanup after adults. If you have a 5-year-old who's had a temper tantrum, you can clear the room from there, right? But adults, we're not allowed to interfere with their own self-awareness. Even if we think they're not getting a lot of self-awareness, that you still need the evidence in front of them. And so in those kind of situations, you can clear the room that you're in if you're by yourself. And if you're in a room with other people, you'll have to resort to shielding yourself by putting yourself in a protective bubble. Now, I put myself in a protective bubble and I'll say, please shield me from any energy that is not mine. Or I can say, please shield me from any energy that's not helpful to me. So now if my kids and I are talking and it's fun conversation, I don't need to be shielded from that. Happy to have that interplay. And when I go out in a public space, say I walk into the supermarket, I'm walking in with that shield. As soon as I get in my car, I have actually a little picture of a little shield or a little coat of arms. And I change the picture because every couple of weeks, I just stop seeing it. I stop noticing it. So I rotate the picture so that when I get in my car, I go, oh yeah, shield myself. Because I'm driving down the road on the way home and I'm like, why am I yawning and yawning? Oh, I didn't shield myself. And I bet I picked up that guy that I walked past. I saw him really grumbling into his phone. I bet I picked up his negative energy. And you can go back and track the unhappy looking people you saw and you know where some of that stuff came from. But if you walk past somebody who's a heavy cigarette smoker and you just walk past them, if you have a sensitive nose, you'll notice, oh wow, my clothes actually have a little whiff of cigarette smoke. It's similar to people's energy. Right? Mm-hmm. So think of that cloud around this guy of the cigarette smoke. It's similar. We're all walking around with our little cloud of the energy that is produced by the thoughts that we've had over the last few hours. And then as I walk past you, you walk past me, we're trading a little bit of that and shielding myself from anything that isn't helpful to me. Just means if it's something positive and I pass Karen in the supermarket, she's having a great day, I'm happy to trade a little bit of that, right? I'm happy to be exposed to other positive sources of energy. It helps me figure out ways I want to vibrate and stretch and grow. But anything negative, I don't need to be exposing myself to. So if you're in a house with 2 kids and a pet and a spouse, you can clear the room you're in, or once they all go outside to take the trash out, clear the house then, let everybody come into a clean space, but you're not allowed to go into your kids who are fighting and clear their room. You can teach them to do it and then they can request it, or you can even say, you guys, you say to my kids, clean your room and then cleanse your room, because they have to clean up the room and then they got to cleanse the energy, because they would be in there arguing over these dumb video games and who killed how many soldiers or whatever. And at one point, my one son yelled, Mom, he's in my room and he's losing and he's polluting my whole room, filling it with negative energy. And I'm like, honey, get your act together or get out of his room, because that's not going to work. And he's fine. I'll clear up my act. And he figured himself out, got himself under control, stopped producing so much negative energy towards his brother and in the room. But that awareness of how you're impacting others, not just by yelling at them when you're in a video game with them, but also just that you're polluting their environment, I think was helpful for them to be raised with, because now they're very conscious if they walk into another kid's dorm room, they're like, oh man, these guys, they don't take good care of themselves and you can feel the energy in here. And it's just part of the whole spectrum of information that we take in when we walk into a space, and it's impacting you. So the more awareness you have, the better the decisions you're going to make around it.